So we're kind of talking about one, toxic positivity on social media, but also just kind of the reals of Lyme disease and chronic illness. And just,
Yeah.
unfortunately, you get on social media and you scroll and you see all these people smiling and all these great inspirational quotes and all these. And I think that sometimes it's great to lift your spirits,
Mhm.
but a lot of the time you got to kind of feel the emotions. And that's kind of where I'm at today. I'm not
Yeah.
really feeling being sick. I don't think anybody's feeling being sick. And
Yeah.
I've made progress. And I know that we've had people come through the class like, "Oh, how are you guys teaching about healing? You're not completely healed." And dude, for those people that have known me prior to now, they would see like they're like, It's miraculous from where you were
Yeah,
at."
exactly.
It goes to say that, like, guys, there's some really dark days on this healing journey.
Hmm.
Like, while you're in it, it's not like you pick up, a program, or you do one of these things and, like, even though it's got like nice font and this, pretty layout and stuff like I don't think that it's representative of healing at all. Like, I think in
Yeah.
the very beginning, especially, like, it's a very, very ugly process, as you have to come to terms that you've got to accept a lot of these symptoms, and a lot of healing has to happen in order to be able to process the pain that's gone through on this journey. And for me in general, like, the hospital stays, the houses that have been lost, the cars that have been lost, the relationships that have been destroyed, the days that have been spent on the couch, and just all this heavy, heavy stuff that you're like, man, I look back, I got sick, I got Lyme disease at 26 years old, dealt with mold and all these different things, and lost all these years of my life. And I come to a spot where I'm actually healing. And now I'm realizing, man, I got to mourn that time. Like, it's time
Yeah.
that I'm not
Part
going to be
of
back.
it.
And I don't want to hold on to it, because I talk about
Yeah.
this all the time. It's like holding on to glass. But I think that there's days where you absolutely feel it. And Joe and I are kind of struggling with it now. Like, he was a successful art director, I
Yeah.
was a senior engineer. And it's like, I can't go back to that life now, because getting in a car and commuting to work every single day and going to meetings and working 60 hours a week isn't great for my nervous system, and it's going to make me collapse. So then I'm stuck in this mindset, well, I need money to survive. And
Yeah.
there starts this process of, yeah, there's some depression in there. Yeah, there's some real
Yeah.
emotions that we have to.
Healing is not easy. It's not.
Yeah,
You
it's
go through
not. And
the.
I think as dudes, like,
Yeah.
we're always worried about, oh, that dude's a coward, or that dude needs to pull his socks up and be a
Yeah.
man. And so those are the dudes I want to punch in the face, because
Yeah.
you're not a real man. Like, you don't know
Yeah.
what it's
Yeah.
like. You can't process your emotions. And today, I got on here, and even before we started recording, like, today's a difficult day. Physically, I got some symptoms, but mentally, I've just kind of had enough. And this isn't just a negative play your tiny violin. I promise you guys, we always
Yeah. Yeah.
put
We're
the
gonna.
real at the end, but we want to be real with you guys and let you know that if you're trying to heal, if you're in the middle of your healing journey, to expect that it's something easy, and that it's not a marathon, and that it's a run that you're going to get to the end and you're going to celebrate and all these things are going to be great, and that you're just going to go back to work
Yeah.
and life is going to return as normal. That's not what it is,
It's
man.
not the
Um,
truth of healing. Yeah.
yeah, I've been in it 2.5 years,
Yeah.
and thank God I'm not on the couch anymore, and thank God for the things that I'm able to do. But days like today, man, I really want to punch a hole in the wall, because I'm frustrated, because it's not moving at the pace that I want it to. Like,
Yeah. Yeah.
there's days where you're emotionally bankrupt and you don't have anything inside to give, and you do the work, you maintain your peace, but it's all right to mourn a little bit of what you lost, and it's all right to feel whatever is your feelings.
Yeah,
You
we
don't.
gotta feel the emotions, man. We That's the thing, is we have to feel the uncomfortable emotions, not get caught up and lost in them, but feeling them. You know what I mean? Like it's tough.
Absolutely. Yeah. And
Yeah.
what I realized, we deal with our students, and, some of them kind of cross borders, and we don't want them like texting us and stuff. But I realize, just like this cup says, it's probably backwards. It says my cup of tea. I'm not everybody's cup of tea, and I'm all right with that.
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
harsh, I'm abrasive. And, part of the reason it is because I want people to understand the real and the urgency behind this, guys. I lost 17 years of my life that I'll never be able to get back. And it's because I sat deep in my emotions and in my depression. And here's the thing is, while I might be feeling like this now, and Joe, I'll tell you, I won't be like this tomorrow. Like,
Yeah, exactly.
I'll pull myself out. I'll go sit in the sunshine. I'm not going to mope in my sorrow, but right now I'm allowing myself to feel it, process it, let it go.
Yeah.
But,
So important.
that's part of the thing. And this is why we're so urgent about it, is, guys, this isn't an easy journey. Healing, I've said this and I haven't said in a while, healing is actually more difficult in the beginning.
Then staying sick, yeah.
Sick. And
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
because everything you are going to do is going to be very, very uncomfortable and doesn't feel good. And it's going to feel, just like counterproductive at times. So, Joe, I
Mhm.
don't know if you want to share. Like I said, I got
Yeah.
a evil cloud over my head right now, and maybe
No,
we can.
it's all good. No, no, no. So when we first started the Healing Dudes, I don't know if you remember this. You remember this, Josh, but the whole point of the us starting the Healing Dudes, well, a couple things was to share the healing journey, like the truth, the real, the raw.
Yeah,
Because one, in the world of mind body healing, nervous system work, neuroplasticity, brain retraining, you see all the nice pictures, the videos, and
yeah,
people paint this light picture like I got my my life back, and now they're like prancing in a fairy like in a field. You know what I mean, like and it's like no, 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 it's really hard to do that sort of stuff. So we were like, this is one, uh, this is incorrect. What is portrayed in healing, you know what I mean? So we were like, okay, we gotta like actually bring the truth about healing from a chronic illness using a lot of the things: brain retraining, mind body healing, nervous system work, all that. And then two was to show other dudes that it's okay to struggle. You know what I mean? Like it's okay to go through the ups and downs, and you don't just got to suck it up. And there's some of these other guys out there like David Goggins, and they're great. We love a lot of their messages, but some of that stuff is just like power through it. You know what I mean? Like you just get up off your fucking couch. You know what I mean? It's like no, like you do have to go through and go through the ups and downs. You don't fall into the pit of despair and depression. Kind of rise up again above it,
yeah,
but part of it is like going through. We talk about riding the waves versus getting pummeled by them, because healing, it's uncomfortable. It's a journey. It's up, it's down. And sometimes when the downs come, you want to fight against them, and you want to kind of be like, no, 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 I'm okay. I'm feeling all right. And like that does nothing. Like you almost just got to be like, okay, this is where I'm at right now. The emotions are heavy today. My symptoms are more symptomatic today. And allowing it to be there versus fighting against it and pretending like everything's okay. You know what I mean? That's the big some of the big things that we wanted to chat to create this channel for, and create our Instagram and all that. Is like we're sharing the real. We're sharing the
yeah,
real about chronic
absolutely.
Lyme disease, chronic illness, anxiety, depression, healing from things like chronic depersonalization, all of that, and how it's going to be up and down. And so it's not we don't just tell you what to do and share when we're good. We also share the times when it's a little bit more of a challenge. So this,
Yeah,
if you find this video, just and you're in a struggle, just know that one, you're not alone. Like
right.
even if you are healing, even if you've gone through healing and you've experienced the ups of symptom reduction and all of these things and feeling good, and and you're in a low, like you're on the right track. If you go through down periods of emotionally in a funk or physically in a funk, or stress comes up and all that, it's part of the healing journey. And so that's kind of what we want to chat about on this video, guys. Is
Yeah,
one, it's okay, it's normal, it's part of it. But also we're going to talk about how what we do in these moments, how we overcome them, and all that sort of stuff. But
yeah,
yeah, I don't know if you want to add on to that or
yeah, yeah. And this is the thing, guys. Is throughout this journey, when you have chronic Lyme or you have a chronic illness, there's phases, and the first phase is the I need the answers phase, and I think that phase kind of persists through. But you find your diagnosis, and then you go to this phase of almost celebration. I don't know how you were,
Yeah,
but when I found out I
yeah,
got
yeah.
Lyme,
When I found out I had Lyme, I was like, yeah, I'm gonna get better.
everybody was hugging me. We're like, we finally found the answers. We're going to get
Yeah.
it. And you know what? There's actually a doctor, Dr. Cheney. I don't know what his name is, but he's claiming he's got the cure for Lyme disease. And I want to, James Schaller or something like that. I
I
don't
don't
know
know
if you
who
know
it is.
what
Yeah.
I'm talking about. It might not, and that might not. I think there's a doctor out there, and he's pretty big in the Lyme community. But what happens is we start rushing to these cures. We start rushing to these things, and we do all these things, and we're hopeful and we're optimistic, and oh man, this is going to work. I'm going to try antibiotics. This doctor told me this, and dude, I don't know about you, but I never really. I maybe know one or two people out of 30, 40,000 people that I've spoken to over this that have gotten better by long-term antibiotics.
Yeah, I don't know many people either. Yeah,
I know a lot of people that have gotten really sick from them, and I know
yeah,
people that even have lost their lives because of long-term antibiotic use. And guys, mind you, we're not giving any medical advice here. We're just sharing our experiences.
yeah,
And you go from that phase. All right, well, this treatment didn't work, so you kind of dive down a little bit deeper, and then you try another treatment that didn't work. And next thing you know, these aren't covering insurances. And let me do IV ozone, and let me do hyperbaric oxygen, and let me do
yeah,
therapy, and let me do the Cowden protocol, and let me neti pot piss, and all these other. And dude, I'm like serious about. And next thing you know, bro, I have $100,000 that I'm in debt, and
yeah.
you sink a little bit
And you're
lower.
just as sick, if not worse.
Yeah, and you're
Something like
just as
that.
sick. And for me on this journey, dude, I think I've shared before, dude. My house was foreclosed on in 2009 because of
Mhm.
medical bills. I lost. This is about the time for any car enthusiasts that were out there. One of my favorite car that I've ever owned was a Mazda Speed 3.
Yeah,
And
that thing was
at the time,
badass.
it that, what'd you say? I didn't hear
I
you.
said that thing was badass, dude. I love that car.
Yeah,
When
yeah.
you,
At the time, it was the fastest front wheel production car
yeah,
ever made. And there was a tuning company in Maryland called Custom
P2.
Performance
Oh,
Engineering.
okay, different
Yeah,
one.
they test fit a lot of their charge pipes, their intercooler, their bypass or their blow off valve, like turbo
Yeah,
back. And so, I mean, dude, I had all these test fitted parts on my
yeah,
car, and had so much work done to it, and it was my baby, dude. Like, I had
yeah,
it on coilovers, the fitment was perfect. Joe and I are car guys,
yeah.
and
We are. Yeah,
I had another one. So I don't know if I told Tracy and I had his and her Speed threes, like right when they came out,
yeah,
and I put all this time into them, and I watched those, get pulled away because they were repossessed because
yeah,
it was either medical treatment or make the car payment.
yeah.
And I sunk deeper and deeper, and what I realized is on this healing journey, as there's like a ton of chemtrails outside. Um, what I
It's gonna
realized,
get this YouTube video
what's that?
censored. That's gonna get
Yeah,
this YouTube video censored.
right. So what I realized is, man, like for you guys that are out there that are watching that are really struggling with chronic illness, like to look healthy and to not get the level of support that I feel like you guys deserve. Like my heart breaks for you guys because I
Yeah.
know what it was like, man. Joe knows what it's like
Hmm.
to have to move back in with his mom. And the reason that it hits me so hard is because it's like it's difficult to tell my story because I feel like I don't have any room to. Like I'm not a cancer patient. Like I don't have leukemia. Like I didn't have some at the moment deathly
Yeah.
ill. But I mean, I definitely have been in the ICU and I've had scary moments with
Yeah,
the
for
illness.
sure. Yeah.
And
A lot of them.
it's like a slow, painful death. And
Yeah.
same thing with mold and all the other chronic illnesses. I'm not going to sit and name it, but guys, like, look, first of all, we feel you guys, you're validated. But don't spend so much time trying to seek identity and validation because it's going to only make you waste years of your time.
It's gonna
So,
pull you down.
yeah, I'm just sharing because this is what's heavy with me today, guys, and I'm just
Yeah.
being real. Is as I lost all these things and lost family and lost friends and lost a career and literally lost everything, I felt helpless, and people would look at me if they didn't see me in a wheelchair. They'd assume that I'm normal. I looked how I look now, except I had hair. Ooh, he's bald. Um, but you know, on days like today, as I've healed, as I've made progress, I'm still trying to pull out. Like I'm not in a position where I can work full time and do these types of things. Nor is my body in a position where it's at where I can allow myself to be subjected to those levels of stress. Like it's just not
Yeah.
worth
Yeah.
my health. So, you run back into the whole financial hardships that come with chronic illness. You come with the isolation of like not really being able to relate to other people. Like
Yeah.
I can't relate to normal people because I feel like I have to kind of put on a facade. And as much as I try to be real, around people, last thing you want to talk about is being sick or how you're sick because you look normal. And
Yeah.
they're like,
Yeah.
I'm just
Exactly.
had the tick bite that causes joint pain.
Yeah. Yeah.
If it was just joint pain, dude, I would, I
That's
would
how it
be.
was when I worked, as an art director or whatever. When because I relapsed in 2015. I don't know if we weren't like really talking like friends. So like I healed in 2009, 2010. Was an art director, and then I relapsed in 2015, and it was like I had to just put on this facade of like, whoa,
Yeah.
I'm like a few people.
How hard was that
Dude, it
Did
was so hard. It was so, because I was working as a graphic designer, art director, and I at that time I was like 30. I was like, I am not moving back in with my mom. I'm gonna suck it up and try to get through this work experience. Luckily, I had a great boss. It was the dude that I was telling you about earlier, Josh. He was my boss, and he knew like what I was going through. I was real with him, but like everyone else, like hardly anyone else knew in the company. They were just like, "Oh, you're kind of dealing with Lyme disease. You just got fatigue and some pain." And I'm like, "No, if you only knew." But anyways, even with that, I healed again. After many like a few years of going through this mind body world and getting my mindset right, moving my body, getting my gut health back in order.
right,
Um, and then there was like another 4 or 5 years of decent, until I relapsed. So the one thing that I want to say is that not only can you heal, but you can also relapse. And also within the healing, there's going to be a lot of ups and downs. And I think that that's what's important to talk about. It's kind of where we were looping and going around is that healing is ugly. It's going to be ugly. And both of us have dealt. I think it's been 20 years now for me, dude, since I got sick in 2005, and then I think you were a year or two after me, right?
2006.
Yeah, so 20
Oh wow,
years.
I've been saving seven, so it's 19 years, dude. I
Yeah,
just
exactly. When we first started, it was 17 years. It's been, now it's been 2.5 years since we started the Healing Dudes, but 20 years. And within that, I've had some really low lows. I've had some really high highs where I think, I mentioned to you, Josh, like some of the best years of my life have been after I dealt with a chronic illness. When I healed and I overcame and then enjoyed life and was back into working and doing everything like that. And some of my best years were after healing chronic illness. So I want to say that to like preface, if you are struggling right now, whether you're at the beginning of your chronic illness journey, whether you're in the midst of your healing journey where it's kind of up and down and you're in a dip, in a low where you kind of feel like, oh, maybe I'm in a setback or a flare, or maybe I'm starting over again. You're not alone, and the body is a miraculous healing machine when you do the right things. And so just learn how to ride the waves of healing and not get so pummeled by them, because it can be a lonely road and it can be tough if you are just feeling like this is my journey and I'm stuck like this, and I've got to just handle this alone, and no one gets my symptoms and all that sort of stuff. We're here to tell you that's not the case. Like,
yeah.
um,
I'm curious for you, dude. With as you kind of went through this, like, did you struggle with your identity at all? Like losing your
yeah,
identity, who you thought you were, who you thought you
hmm
weren't?
yeah,
I'm just kind of curious. I'm going to
yeah.
answer the question, but I'm just kind of curious what you go for
Yeah,
it.
yeah. No,
Yeah,
I mean, and that's the thing is, I think that's part of what happens when people become sick is like you, um, one, you have your identity before you become sick, and for me, it was like just this college dude. I liked to skateboard. I was a beer drinker. I enjoyed partying and all that sort of stuff. And then it's like when you become sick, now you're like, whoa, who am I? You know what I mean? And that's when I think a lot of people fall into the victim mentality of like, oh, I'm a sick person. I'm chronically ill. Like now my identity is Lyme disease and all that sort of stuff. And then navigating from that is part of the healing journey as well. It's like, now you gotta kind of navigate away from the identity of I'm a sick person, I'm a limey, I'm a whatever moldy, I'm a lupus warrior, whatever, because that is a big part of the healing journey is letting go of the labels that kind of constrain you and confine you. And then it's like, now as you're healing, it's like, well, who am I? It's like,
yeah,
I'm not who I was before I got sick. I'm trying to not identify with the chronic illness, and now who am I? And so like there's been a lot of that. It's like I don't really fit in the normal world of like, as a graphic designer, art director. So it's like people, I can relate to those people, And now that we're doing the healing dude stuff, it's like now it's like finding, well, okay, well, I'm meant to help people heal. I'm meant to show people the healing journey. And like, so it's a big, aside from just healing, there's a lot of ups and downs of like, again, traumas that resurface, fears that resurface, on the healing journey as you're kind of navigating health, but also as you're finding your new identity away from health. It's like everything I thought I knew about myself, about life kind of changes, like what it takes to
Yeah.
be healthy, all of that. And I think it's really it's really hard to navigate, and this is where it's important, one, to have people that are going through it as well, that you're not alone, you're not just sitting there by yourself, and you're alone in this, because like I talk about this in our class. It's all of the symptoms and all the stuff we deal with, sometimes we feel like we're alone. I'm the only one that's dealing with this symptom. I'm the only one that's dealing with this. My brain is broken. It's like there are millions of people in the world that are probably dealing with exactly what you're dealing with. And
Right.
so it's good to have people that have overcome and have risen up above, some of these challenges, and that are showing the way. And it's good to associate with that. And that becomes the new identity. It's like I'm not who I was before. I'm not a sick person. Now I'm a healing person, and now I'm overcoming this and becoming a new version of myself. And that's
Right.
kind of, I think, what both of us believe, and that's a lot of what we kind of teach already in our class. It's not just healing. It's like we're almost like creating new identities outside of chronic illness, right? Don't you feel the same way? And same,
Absolutely. Yeah. I
same
think,
question to you. Like, what was it
yeah,
like for
yeah. I definitely, dude, in the beginning of this, when I first got sick, life was crazy, dude. My mom was married 4 times. Like
you?
I grew up wild. I was a wild, wild kid.
Yeah,
And, when I came to DC, finished school, I was so focused on being that the stereotypical DC professional.
yeah,
I wore khakis, shirt and tie. Like I was like, all
yeah,
right, cool. It wasn't who I was,
yeah, yeah,
but I was enjoying being that, in your 20s, you're kind of trying to figure out who you are. And I was like, man, like I climbed the corporate ladder. This is kind of fun. Like money's
hmm,
great and stuff like that, but at the end of the day, it wasn't satisfying to my soul. The money's good when you're young.
hmm,
But when I got sick, it's like you kind of turn an eye and you're like, who am I? Like, what is it that I want? Like, aside, obviously, we just want to feel better. And I think the immediate response is we want to go back to our old lives. Like
hmm,
that's the initial response. I think that I just want to go back to my old life. I want to go back to work. I want to go back to things because we take all these things. Like maybe you guys are watching this, or maybe you're a family member, or maybe you're someone that didn't get so sick and your life wasn't completely robbed from you. And that's how I describe it. Is like when you get chronically sick, it's like everything that used to matter in life no longer matters. The only thing that
yeah,
matters is wanting to feel healthy again. And it's like your life is completely, robbed from you. And for the longest time, I wanted my identity to go back. I wanted to be a senior engineer again.
yeah, yeah,
I felt like at 26, I had notoriety walking around the office. I felt like I had respect from peers. I felt like I'd done something for my life. And I came from the mud, dude. Like I came from
yeah,
dirt poor nonsense. And I was like, I made it out. I worked hard. I did this. So when I lost all that, my whole identity was wrapped up in what I did for a living. And I didn't know who I was. I'm this sick guy sitting in my basement playing World of Warcraft, just not knowing how to even communicate. And I think I went through several phases of just trying to figure out, and then when I had my mold exposure, bro, I felt like I was crazy. Like I literally felt like I was losing my mind, and that, I kind of began to accept that. Well, I went to a phase where I was the limey, the advocate, and that was another thing. And then I just accepted that I was going to be sick the rest of my life. And that was my identity. And it wasn't until 2 years ago that I really realized that despite being chronically sick, that you can still heal and that you can still create something beautiful inside of your life. And that's where I was like, all right, I am a father of four. I am a basketball coach. I'm an entrepreneur. Like
yeah,
we help people heal. I'm a Christian. Like I have all these different things. Whereas before, I was so lost in my identity and such a dark place to be when you don't know who you are and what you want. And that's one of the biggest things that we encourage in our class too is, guys, there's dark days in this. And
Yeah.
if there's these feel good programs that if you come and you do some sort of healing and you're expecting to feel good the whole process, that's not the place for you. Healing's ugly, healing's messy, and healing's going to be offensive sometimes. There's a lot of stuff that we say in class that's going to offend people that aren't ready to heal. And
Yeah. Yeah.
especially when you tell people that they have to accept their symptoms. Like, you tell me I got to accept it.
Yeah, exactly.
Josh is too aggressive. You know what? I am aggressive and I'm never going to change because, like I said, I see people in a building burning, and I know that what we teach provides a way to get out. And I see people that are literally on fire looking at me, arguing while they're burning, and literally like, we're just trying to help. Like, here's the ladder, here's the water. Like, all you have to do is jump. And it's not like Joe and I offer anything specifically different. It's that you consistently show up and do the work, and it changes your life.
Yeah.
And we're never from a message. We don't believe in pushing. Like, that's a
No,
crazy
no.
thing. Getting off your couch, and when I'll yell sometimes, dude, get off your couch.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
never pushing. And if you're at a
Yeah.
point where you believe getting off your couch is pushing, then it's, I mean, everybody go
That's a
sit.
mindset. That's a mindset thing more than it is like a an actual limitation. And it's based off of like surrounding yourself with people that are basically reaffirming you're a chronically ill person. You can't do this. You can't do this. And I just don't resonate with that anymore.
I don't resonate
Yeah.
with it at all
Yeah.
because I did resonate with it for a long
Yeah.
time.
For a long
I
time as
stayed
well.
exactly there on my couch, and I
Yeah.
watched year after year after year go by. And even if it's something as simple as rolling off the couch and laying down in child's pose consistently every day,
Yeah.
and maybe that goes into doing some qigong, or maybe that goes in with walking a lap around a tree. The biggest thing, guys, is just showing up every day.
Yeah.
Pushing doesn't look like. I remember when I first started this, we say all the time. Joe and I walk several miles a day a piece, and I couldn't make a mile. Like, I
Yeah.
couldn't. I couldn't do it. Like, I couldn't make it around my block. And Joe was there many times where I couldn't
Yeah.
finish it. I just didn't have it in me.
Yeah.
And it's just about showing up, guys, like showing up daily, and having these daily wins. And I always see this stupid thing on social media. It's not stupid, but have 3 daily wins, and a movement win, a
Exactly.
diet
Yeah.
win, a mindset win. And I think that when you stack those, it makes a big difference. So, kind
Yeah.
of coming back, the dark cloud, and this is how I work through it. It's like days like today absolutely suck. When I feel the mental go and I let it take reign, the physical begins
Yeah.
to kind of
Exactly.
I feel it even now. But one of the ways that I let it go is I go for a walk. It's so
Yeah.
crazy. Like, if people used to tell me back in the day, just breathe or go for a walk, but now I realize all these stuff that these people were saying.
Yeah.
Like, if I go for a walk, it's not an instantaneous cure.
No, but
But
it
if
helps.
I'm not walking, doing this, I put my phone down in my pocket, and I'm intentional about that unless I'm on a
Yeah.
phone call. And I take time to express gratitude for looking at nature, looking at the sky, my ability
Mhm.
to walk, to do all these things. And I'll come home and I'll normally do like a guided visualization, or like a meditation, and
Yeah.
I'll write down what I'm grateful for. And, maybe I'll hug on one of my kids, or I'll get to go to basketball practice. And that's the shift, guys. We choose to live life. And that's what I'm going to do today. I got practice tonight. And I just found myself sitting around the house, and I got into my practice, and then I got a phone call, and then I got a text, and I went out of it and I didn't finish the practice. And I'm like, man,
Yeah, you
it's
feel it.
quick how quickly we fade back. And
Yeah.
then depression hits and you get bad news and all these things spiral, but we're the ones that stop it, guys. And that's the thing is, if you're feeling like this today, if you're struggling, if you don't feel like you can make it through, if you don't know what your identity is, maybe you're depressed every single day, maybe you're anxious, maybe you're sick and tired of being sick and tired, guys, there's absolutely solutions to feel better. And
Yeah.
it doesn't mean that you feel better every day, and it doesn't mean that you feel better immediately, but there are shifts that happen. But it requires you showing up daily and doing the work and seeing as things change. Joe, I don't know, like for you,
Yeah.
like, what were some
Well,
big things that brought change to you
yeah.
and made
I want to say something first before I go into that. We often look at healing and getting healthy as an absence of symptoms, and I don't agree with that anymore. Healing is learning to embrace the symptoms and take action despite the symptoms and the challenges that we have, and learning to live better with a chronic illness. That's the one thing that I've always taken away from the type of work that we do and like my own healing journey is that in the past I let the illness win, I let the symptoms win. And then in order to heal, I decided to be the one in control, not the illness, not the symptoms, and to learn to embrace the journey of the ups and downs and to coexist with the symptoms as uncomfortable as they be, may be at sometimes, and to just do my best every single day. And that, I think, is the mindset one that you need to go through, because like, you had mentioned before, like, we don't just push through. When people are feel like, I'm chronically ill, getting up off the couch is pushing, or living life is pushing. One, that's a mindset thing, and two, it's like you're still resisting against what is. So you can't resist against the symptoms and all that sort of stuff. It's like the symptoms are there. Do your best while they're there, and learn to live and coexist with them while they're there, and do the healing work. So, for me, the healing work, we have our healing routine, we have our no BS healing guide, we share all of the healing work in our class. But some, like you said, Josh, some of the most simple things are the most effective. Coming back to the present moment, sitting in nature, doing little things for yourself each and every day when you're in that flare, or that setback, or you're in the funk. And it's like, what can I do to just make this moment, this day, just a little bit better? Can I just practice some presence? So can I find some little joy in my day? Can I move my body and help get myself out of this funk and this flare, through like rolling out the yoga mat and doing a gentle, yoga session or something like that? And this is where it all adds up. It's like, none of these things are gonna, like, boom, you do them, it's like, oh, I feel amazing, like, let me go, run a marathon. No, but like, day in and day out, when you go through these flares, and when you're in the dip, it's like what you choose to do and how you choose to live life while those dips. In the past, I think, whether you're listening to this, or whether you're in it, it's like in the past, and I'm sure me and you did the same thing. It's like, let me lay on the couch, grab the remote, controller, play some video games, talk to my like sick friends, commiserate, and it's like that does nothing for healing. It's like, now we're in a dip, it's like we get out, we go for that walk,
Yeah.
we listen to positive content. We may even throw on like a podcast or Joe Dispenza talk that like helps with the mindset. We practice gratitude for the little things that we have. Like, I'm grateful it's a sunny day right now. I'm grateful that I can see and just have a conversation right now. You know what I mean? Things like
Yeah.
that, and that's where you shift it. It's not gaslighting yourself. You're still in it. You're still struggling, but it's like, now it's like choosing to see the little sunny side of all of the darkness. It's like, and that when that you let that light in, creep in just a little bit, it kind of grows and it grows, and now you're, all right, I'm grateful for these things even while I'm struggling. And when you do that, like, that's when it starts to get a little bit better and to get a little easier. And the really difficult symptoms are just a little bit easier to tolerate. So, those are some of the things, guys. It doesn't have to be so complicated. It really doesn't. It's just simple
Yeah,
stuff. Sometimes it makes the biggest difference in the
it
the
is. And
players.
I agree, bro. And I think that, I know what to do to pull out of the state that I'm in right now. And sometimes we just choose not to do the work
Yeah,
because, we become comfortable with the familiar, even if the familiar isn't good
it's a
for us.
hell. Yeah,
Yeah. What is the quote? Your body will always choose a familiar
familiar
hell over or what is it?
over an unfamiliar heaven. I think that's it. Yeah,
Uncomfortable. Yeah, something like that.
yeah,
Like if you guys look it up, it'll come up.
yeah,
But it is true. Your body will always prefer a familiar hell. Um, and guys, listen. I mean, these are all practical tips that really change. But it's not like it's not one meditation. It's not one walk. It's not one thing of breath work. It's not one thing of qigong. It's not one thing of going to the gym. It's not one meal of eating healthy, guys. It's a
yeah,
brick by brick approach. It's you have to stack days. You have to stack days. You have to be consistent.
yeah,
And I say this all the time. When I entered into this realm of nervous system regulation and realizing that the neuroscience behind it's astounding. But what I also came to understand is everybody that I talked to that recovered all told me the same thing. It wasn't
yeah,
about the program. It wasn't about that. They're like, find some good people to be around so that you're not healing by yourself. And two, and it's the biggest rule. It's like kind of like the rules when the dude gets a little mogul eye. Like these are they're huge. Like
Yeah.
you have to be consistent. Like
Yeah.
if you're not consistent, this thing will rear its ugly head and you're not prepared. The more consistent that you guys are, the quicker things will heal. So what
Yeah.
happens when you're chronically sick, depressed, and anxious, and you begin to meditate and visualize every day, morning and night? You begin to practice gratitude morning and night. You begin to take walks morning and night. And remember, it's not about the length, it's about showing up.
Yeah. It's all it
So
is. Yeah.
all these guys are telling me to push. No, I'm telling you to go out. And if you can walk to the end of your driveway, do it. If walking to your kitchen's where you start, do it. If walking and touching the doors where you start, do it.
Hmm.
Obviously, make sure you're cleared by a doctor. Sit and do some kind of routine, whether it's qigong, whether it's yoga, where it's stretching, whether it's lifting light weights, whatever your
Hmm.
doctor said your body is fit for. And then it's beginning to write down what it is you want to do with your life
Yeah.
outside of being sick. Because if your only plan in life is to get better and you've got to wait, maybe that takes 6 months, maybe it takes
Yeah.
6 years.
Yeah,
You're
exactly.
just going to wait 6 years of your life waiting to heal, scrolling on social media, binge watching Netflix, playing video games, and commiserating in your illness. Or you can begin to do things that you love while you heal and watch as it goes quicker and quicker and quicker.
And that's
And
what
that's,
actually helps heal is like when
yeah,
you start
it is.
engaging in life as well,
Right,
guys.
the distraction's beautiful. And
Yeah.
this is why, like, the beef that we have with these programs is as you go through, they feel every turn feels good, and so they don't prepare you. So like you're riding the waves and like you're riding it, it's great. But like when you crash and you go into the water and like you get the salt water up your nose. I used to surf, and this is like the first time it happens when you get the wind knocked out of you by a wave
I don't
and
want to go
salt
back.
water goes up your nose and your mouth, dude. You're under the water like, and the wave hasn't completely crashed over your head, so you're struggling. But what really happens is when you learn to surrender to those and you
Yeah.
just kind of like kick back and you come out on the other side and you're not panic breathing, you're not
Yeah.
putting salt water in, guess what? You come back out. You get back out on your board, you paddle back out,
Yeah.
you wait for the waves, and then you ride it calmly. But if you're not completely prepared for this and you're just told like, hey, here's the somatic tools and here's somatic tracking and here's top down, bottom down, and here's all these things, but you're not prepared for getting punched in the face, it's going to be tough. Like, so
Yeah.
that's,
Yeah.
if you're sitting there like you're boxing and you know you're going to get punched in the face, you might take that punch and you might still keep fighting. But if my hands are down and I'm not prepared and I punch you in the face, it's probably going to knock you out.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that's what
Yeah. You're not
cute.
gonna get back up.
Well, but this is why we try to prepare for people for the ugly and show the real, because unfortunately, as you scroll through social media, as you go through programs, they don't show you the real part of it. It's always the what feels good. And as we started off in the beginning, guys, and what we want to let you guys know, healing does not feel good. Healing is difficult. There's bright days that come from healing, but if you're not prepared to be able to deal with that, you're going to give up. If you're
Yeah.
not prepared to walk the journey, like if you haven't packed your symptoms in your knapsack for the marathon, guys, the first couple miles you're gonna give up, you're gonna turn
Oh,
around and
yeah.
go
I
back to
can't do
the
this.
couch
Yeah. Yeah.
because it's comfortable. And here's the last part of it, guys, and we'll close with this unless Joe had anything else to
No.
say. um, you need to be surrounded with people that have been on the journey before, that know the path ahead, that
Yeah.
that understand, almost like trail guides, like, hey, saying, hey, go here, here's what you're going to need to get past this point. And understanding that, Joe and I really feel like we figured this out in the most humble way possible. Like, I am aggressive, like I will be the one that say, get off your couch, I'm going to sit and I'm going to be there, and Joe's going to be there too, and we did have different approaches. And some people need to hear the urgency and healing, or otherwise you're going to lose time, and
Yeah.
other people need a more gentle approach. And
Yeah.
that's what's great about our community, is there's people from both sides, because
Yep.
we're all so unique and different.
Yep.
And healing in a group, in a community, and I don't use the term community loosely, but a community of people that feels like family healing together, I feel like your chances, I don't feel like science would dictate it, that your chances of healing quicker are exponentially higher than
Yeah.
when doing in a community, than if here's a program or here's a thing and we'll say community, you'll go onto like a Facebook groups where everybody's making posts and stuff like that. But no, these people communicate all throughout the day. So if you're struggling, if a lot of this video resonated, even where I'm at, and maybe you're more in a position like Joe, like we all need support. We don't
Yep.
want you going back to these communities that are toxic and
Yeah.
constantly fighting and treatment after treatment that's not working for everybody. Talk to people that are getting better. Talk to the ones that are ahead of you on the path, that have gone over some of the mountains and come down on the sides and come back up. Those are the
Yeah.
people you want to be around, and those are the people, fortunately, that we've had in our class. And it's an incredible thing. We do biweekly Zooms where Joe and I share our journey. We share a lot of the science behind it and why this stuff works and a lot of the tools.
Yep.
You get our no BS guide, and ultimately, guys, it's a great place to be able to heal. And listen, if that's not you, and you don't have $88 a month, and that's all it is, like, we try to make it as cheap as
Yep.
possible. Listen to me. All of our social media has all the information for free. We don't gatekeep. All we simply are saying is, like, when you pull up to the national park, and I don't know why I speak in metaphors, bro. Pull up to the national park, and it's like we're going to the ranger's office, and we're giving you a map, and we're telling you, like, hey, here's some hikers, here's some experienced trail guides that have been on it before. That's simply all we're offering to
Yeah.
do, instead of, like, here's a map, go figure it out by yourself. And that's what we feel like a lot of these programs do is, here's a map. It doesn't show you that the weather changes. It doesn't tell you that floods can come. It doesn't tell you that the temperature drops. It doesn't tell you that the grizzly bear is going to eat your
Yeah.
eggplant.
Exactly.
Like, all these crazy things. We prepare you guys for the journey. We walk the journey, and there's even parts of it that we're still going on through you. So
Hmm.
if you feel
Exactly.
like you're struggling and you're looking for solutions, all the information to set up a free call with Joe and I is going to be in the description for the video. So,
Yep. Appreciate it, guys.
yeah. You have anything, Joe?
No, that's it. Thanks for watching this video, guys. If you're in it, just know that it gets better. Learn to ride the waves, like Josh said, and everything, and and try not to get pummeled by them. It's gonna be up and down, but like you can absolutely get better, and it's best in you know being around a community of people that can help lead the way and help guide. So appreciate you
Absolutely.
guys watching.
Yeah, guys. And just three things: like, comment. Oh, that would end it well. Like, comment, that's an easy thing. Like, comment, and subscribe, guys. Seriously,
I
we
appreciate it.
appreciate all the support with putting out this stuff. Joe and I put a lot of energy into making
Yeah.
these videos. We're not looking to get anything other than just give free information to the community. So.